Scrap Daily On. I just want to take the time to tell you, you are petty. Petty, petty, petty. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This is season 9, episode 6. And as I said, Scrap Daily On, petty, 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 petty. I know I could be petty. And if there's anybody that's even down here doing reviews that could take the liberty of calling someone petty, it would be me. You are petty, my friend. You really, really are. Y'all just stick around, honey, and I'm going to show you and tell you why. Now, Cheyenne and KK and Scrap, when we left off, they were having this whole conversation. Karen done dropped the boom and said, yeah, your sister, see, because Karen petty too. Karen done dropped the boom and told Scrap that Cheyenne is messing around with Shooter. She knew that Scrap didn't know. And she done told Cheyenne that Shooter is messing around with another woman. Karen petty. That's part of what I love about Karen and Mama D. Some of the pettiest folks on here. But I didn't realize that Scrap was as petty as he was. I knew you was petty from your dealings with Tommy back in the day, but you done went to jail and all that, and I thought you had changed. Yeah, you changed, but you are truly Karen King's child. You are petty, my friend. Anyway, Scrap was pissed. He is pissed off at the whole thing about the fact that he didn't know about Cheyenne and what she was doing with her box with his friend, honey. Petty. Anyway, moving on. So the girls are out on their trip, their little skiing trip and all this here. So, you know, they said they were all going to have this, they're going to do this group pregnancy test. Okay? Now, before we get to them actually doing the pregnancy test, we had this whole thing with Spice going on that's hanging over their head. Spice is not using Shekinah. Shekinah's already at the house. So, we got this thing here. Shekinah is, what it all broke down to is that Shekinah basically has told Spice, yeah, girl, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then she stood her up. She wasn't picking up her calls and different things like that. She being petty. A lot of pettiness going on. But, you know, you can't do that to some people. And Spice is one of those people that you can't do that with. She took it personal. She didn't care for it. Her feelings were hurt. She was literally in her feelings. And she was supposed to be going to help Spice find a house in Atlanta. She didn't show up. And then there was also, in the past, she had stood her up about celebrating a birthday with her. Now, listen. You know, you're going to go buy a house, and somebody who's supposed to come with you that don't show up to go buy the house, then the hell with them. You go on and get you a house anyway. Okay? But I kind of feel you when somebody tell you, yeah, we're going to go out, we celebrate the birthday, and then they stand you up. See, that's where you start pushing the lines of friendship and getting yourself to a point where people might stop messing with you. Something as important as a birthday. Your birthday comes around once a year. It wasn't just a regular Saturday. You know what I mean? If I make plans with you to celebrate my birthday and you stand me up, yeah, I would think that would put a little strain on the friendship. And then Shekinah has such a flippant attitude. That type of stuff doesn't help. And she was really taking things as a joke. And it really isn't a joke for Spice. And we know that, look, I ain't made friends with Spice. Spice ain't no personal friend of mine. But just from watching her on the show, I know how she moves. And I can imagine that kind of thing wouldn't go over well with her. So I'm like, Shekinah, either you don't value her as a friend or you just really are that simple. And I think it's really a little bit of both. But, you know, was what it was. Anyway, they go and they take their pregnancy tests. And then, child, they all put their little tests out and they get to reading off their things. And baby, it seems as though Sierra and Bambi are knocked up. Child, Bambi was like, okay, like was no big deal. I think she said the longer they were in the bus riding toward the place, the more sick she became. She's been pregnant before. She pretty much knew that she was pregnant, and it just kind of was what it was. And which made me question her because you had a good idea that you were pregnant. What did you take that shot for? Because they all took a shot before they did their pregnancy test. Bambi Heifer, you pretty much knew your ass was knocked up. You had a bit of taking that shot, so you out of order. But anyway, everything be fine. God take care of babies and fools. So you got a double there. Check, check, honey. You be all right. Anyway, but you knew I was going to. I told y'all I'm Patty. You knew I was going to bring it up, girl. Anyway, when I tell you that Sierra lost her shit, Sierra broke out into tears like somebody told her baby that there was no more birthday cake left, honey. She was so upset. She was so not on board for having this baby with BK, and I can understand. Child, listen. They carried on, and then they told her, girl, it was a prank. Shut the hell up. All the damn crying. Shut up. It was a prank. Bambi slid downstairs and pissed on 2 sticks, honey. And one of the sticks was yours. We knew you weren't pregnant, but they pranked her. Child, she had broke all the way down. I mean, to the ugly crowd. You know her makeup runs. I told you all that earlier in the season. Every time we got her cry, I don't know what you using, sis, but every time you cry, girl, this makeup is running down your face, and I am just sick of it. Sick of it. Anyway, moving on. So, they were kind of, the next day, they're doing their thing in the kitchen, making breakfast or whatever. And then they get the clowning and carrying on, and they told Spice and Carly basically have issues with Shekinah. And they had told Shekinah she need to mind her damn business. She's always in other people's business, and she needs to learn how to shut her damn mouth. And Carly said, I got something to shut your mouth, child. Carly goes and gets this big old dildo. I said, girl, would you bring that big old dildo? This big old dildo, child. And they tackled her to the floor and told her, we're going to stuff it in your mouth and shut your ass up. So it was funny. It was a really funny scene. She told her, she said, both of you horses too old to be playing. It was funny. But I was like, okay. And then they kind of went into this thing. They had this waiting to exhale moment, honey, where they start talking about relationships and the whole thing of people saying they need to have a man. So Shekinah went and she starts talking about the abusive, her past and being in some abusive relationships. And we know that there's been some problems in the past with Shekinah with abusive relationships. So some of that started to come out, and she was talking, and then she got really emotional. Then Spice started talking about her situation, about being away from her children, and then their father not being in their life, and this, that, the other. Then it trickled down into Mimi and the whole Stevie J thing, and then Shekinah, again, talking too much. Shekinah brought the whole shit full circle. Like, yeah, he took a whole stripper and took and screwed this stripper and married her, and gave us the whole the whole Jocelyn rundown. And so all of them got very involved, and it was a major moment. So I figured right after that, I said, okay, they done cried it out. Everything good. So they should be good going forward. No, they still was kind of picking because they still pissed off. And they was kind of picking at Shekinah, and she's feeling the burn of the problems in her friendships, okay? So I was just laughing at that. I was like, Lord have mercy. So that's what they got going on. Moving on to Shooter. All the guys that got together, they went down with Jock to look at suits and whatnot for the wedding. Let me stop right here and say this to you all. Do you all think there's going to be a wedding with Jock and old girl? because it seems as though Jock is pulling back. We don't see her very much on the show. You know, we see in like little splice in pieces of her, and then we just ain't seeing her. And it feels like there's a disconnect with them two ever since the vasectomy situation. It seems like there's a disconnect. So do you think, and then he's so uninterested all of a sudden, do you think there's actually going to be a wedding? And then I'm starting to see some questionable behavior from Jock. I'm like, Jock, what you doing? What are you doing, mister? He was doing so well. What are you doing? I don't know. I'm just seeing this. I just want to know if y'all were. Put it in the comments. What if you see, if you seen anything, put it in there. If you didn't, and it's me, just say no. James tripping. Okay. Okay. So while they were there, you know, trying on suits and stuff, Scrap De Leon with his petty ass and Shooter have a conversation, baby, and it's all about Miss Cheyenne. And he gave him, he says, you know, is there anything you want to tell me? You know, this, that thing, and the other. And he put it all in his hands, and Shooter's like, I don't know what the hell you talking about. So that conversation turned all the way into, listen, me and you supposed to be doing business. We supposed to be boys. So first of all, my sister was off limits. You know, and then you sneak in, and I don't like it, and I don't know that I want to do business with you. It went all the way to that. I don't know if I want to do business with you. Now, you know what? He's petty, but I understand a little. I understand a little, because if you had something like that, when it comes, if you had boning my sister, I can imagine that you would have mismanaging my money. You feel me? So I kind of understand where Scrap's going. Though Scrap, you still petty as hell. But so that's that. He's like, I don't want to open up a barbershop with you. I can't trust you. No, you can't. And what we're seeing of Shooter not trustworthy. Shooter all over the place. Shooter talking to Sierra on the phone. She called to check on the kids and whatnot. And then she had nerves. And see, she's simple. She's the simplest something on here, honey, and she clings. She's a Klingon. She's sitting up getting an attitude with him because he won't say, I love you back on the phone. She said, well, I love you. Even though we're not together, we can still tell each other that we love each other. For what? For what? And all that tells me is that Shooter still be banging out her box from time to time. And I'd be willing to bet my money on it. He's still tapping that thing, honey. He hitting her with that thing, that thing, that thing. He banging her out every now and again. I'd be willing to bet money on it. But she sat over there, and when they got off the phone, she was sitting over there looking like she get ready to cry. Because there's like, girl, what you sitting over there like you ready to cry? I said, because Shooter don't want her. Because Shooter don't want her. You spreading yourself thin, busting it open wide. Stupid. And listen, that's the thing. Shooter must got some good ding, honey. Because I don't find him all that attractive. Like, he has some features that are nice. Like, he has nice hair. Some features that are nice. I don't think he's a bad-looking guy at all. But I don't think he's, like, overly... Like, he's not this beautiful man to where you falling down on the ground about him. So, it got to be the other thing. It'll be that thing. That thing. That thing. That's what I believe. I believe he's tearing the girls' boxes up. But anyway, speaking of, Kiyomi. She's sitting over there with Shooter. Here, he got to try to straighten up some shit now. So he goes and he tells her about Cheyenne. And for Kiyomi, it was a face crack. I said, Mona. You know, because she was sitting on there, she had confessional. She's telling us all about the fact, oh yes, we have this open relationship, and it's this, that, and the other, and we're so solid, and I'm so confident, and blah, 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 blah. And he knows the rules. As long as he, you know, keeps me abreast of who's who, and let them hoes know that I'm always number one. Boom, this, that, and the other. We good to go. Well, no, y'all not good to go, sis, because he already broke the rules, and now everything that Mona showed us 10 minutes ago before the commercial break got you looking like a damn fool out here in the streets because you didn't know nothing about Cheyenne, and he been fucking around with Cheyenne for 2 years. So you looking like a whole damn fool out in these streets, aren't you? But whatever. So she doing all that, and he got you over here cooking spaghetti for his son, and the little baby didn't even eat it. And that little boy, listen, that little boy of Sierras and Shooters is a little Safari. He is good TV. He commands the screen every time he gets on. That little boy is a hoot and a holler. You hear me? And she was like, "You're not going to eat the spaghetti?" No, bitch. He gave her and that spaghetti the old, bitch, get out of here, Eddie. When we go to McDonald's, where I bet you want to go somewhere because I'm not eating that. And I don't blame him. That bitch was talking about putting sugar and ketchup and some other shit. I said, bitch, I wouldn't eat it either. Ick. He said, I'll have a Mick anything other than that, bitch. That little boy is a hoot and a holler. You hear me? Moving on. So Jock has this game night. Child, so listen, when I said Jock has some questionable behavior, Mita. Who the hell is Mita? Cute little thing. It's an old friend. See, this is how it always starts. Mita is an old friend of Jock's. She's a party planner. You had to bring Mita in to do a game night for you and your friends down at your club, at your place? Yeah, okay. Mita over there looking at Jock like she could just eat him up. And that's enough. We already figured that out about Jock. Jock doesn't carry a large toolbox, but he knows how to use all of the nuts and the bolts. Is what goes on with Jock, okay? Jock be carrying on. He be really, he be moving some things around in these girls' box, honey. And honey, Mita was looking at Jock like she could eat him up. I said, Mita's telling the whole story right here on camera, Jock. What's really going on? See, we know when you straying and when you slaying because you always start surrounding yourself with these women from your past, Jock. We see you. Always some whore from your past, but we ain't seeing your fiance. We see your ass, Jock. You better cut it out. Damn it. Anyway, so this is where we get into where we started this review. How Scrap De Leon is petty as hell. You set your sister up. Not no bitch from in the street. Your sister, Cheyenne. You set her up. And why is her eyes so red? This Cheyenne, she ain't coming to the storyline like this. Cheyenne got this whole whore-esque vibe rolling, and I can't even ignore it anymore. It's just like she's coming across very cheap, and her eyes are always red and too much makeup. And Cheyenne, what's going on? What's going on, sis? Anyway, but your brother's shady as hell, and he set you up. He brought her there, and he basically blasted her and let everybody know her and Shooter are boyfriend and girlfriend. And he knows better. So it's like a whole kiki. Because they've been hanging out, so he knows how Shooter fucks around. A whole setup. When we look around, Safari and Erica are in Atlanta. So they show up for the party. Like I said, making good TV. Safari and Erica were sitting over by the Jenga game, okay? All at once, honey, here comes Shooter and Kiyomi in matching outfits, like they were on their way to the amusement park, first day of summer. And baby, when I tell you, it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I don't think Scrap actually knew Kiyomi was coming, But he definitely knew the shooter was coming, and he had already put salt in the shit and mixed the shit up to where it was going to embarrass Cheyenne. He was either going to embarrass Cheyenne or put Shooter on the spot because, again, Shooter, ain't claiming Cheyenne publicly. It was petty. He knew he was going to it was a setup. And it was very petty. It was some shit you do to somebody else's sister. You don't do that to your sister. But he did. He put her in a bad position. And and the chances were that he was going to come because it was a date thing. So chances were there would be some woman that he was going to come with, or he would be there scouting other women. So you petty as hell, my dude. You petty. Anyway, now I have to give Kiyomi this. She played this. Do you hear me? She was every bit the bitch that I would have been. Every bit. First of all, she came in looking flawless in all white, Miss Thing. Hair blonde, bumping. That bitch was done. Kiyomi came in there done. Do you hear me? And like I said, Cheyenne was looking quite cheap. But Kiyomi came in there looking like money, okay? And she played it perfect, honey. Shit was going down. Cheyenne was losing her shit. She came all unglued. She said, I need to talk to you. She was making a scene and carrying on. And Shooter was giving, no. Honey, Kiyomi was giving, no, baby, we are a couple. Very calm. Very me, honey. No, sweetie, we are a couple. And no, I mean, if he's going to go over there and talk to you, we will go over there and talk to you because we do everything together. I don't know what it is that you're talking about. And she's like, you need to handle her. Oh, it was, and then told her this was the nail in the coffin when she looked at her and said, honey, what is going on? You are way too pretty to be acting like this. Oh, bitch. Bitch. If that wasn't a nail in a hammer shot, big bow. I said, no, she didn't. Girl, you standing over there with my man and look me in my face, bitch, while you sitting over there looking like you walked off the pages of a goddamn book, and then tell me, why are you acting like this? You're way too pretty to be acting like this. Bitch, no you won't. Honey, and Miss Cheyenne was done. She said, what? We what, bitch? And she went to kicking and trying to fight. I said, Cheyenne, you look totally crazy. And you mad at all the wrong people. You should be mad at Shooter. And you should be mad at your brother who set you up to get back at you and Shooter. Because he's petty as hell. I told y'all I was going to show y'all how Scrap was petty. He petty as hell. And the thing was, Kiyomi came out of the character and had done slid off her clear heel and was over there trying to wear a girlfriend out with the heel, honey. See, because she could do both. She's over there pretty as a button, honey. But she came right over there and was giving you a taste of that goddamn heel, honey. I said, girl, insult upon injury. Poor Cheyenne. Maybe next time, honey. Scrap your ass